Welcome back, everybody, and today there is a terrible smear going around right-wing media. They're trying to imply that the Senate Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer, Chucky Schumer, that he made threats towards two sitting Supreme Court justices. Hogwash, baloney. I don't believe it. This is clearly the right-wing smear machine at work once again, trying to undermine women's reproductive rights. Anyways, this is Real Clear Politics, a very biased right-wing website. The author of this article is Ian Schwartz. That's clearly a German name, so we can guess by that this is an alt-right article. Let's just go and read what it says. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat, New York. So clearly they hate the guy. Speaking at a rally of pro-choice supporters Wednesday, threatened Supreme Court Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch that they will, quote-unquote, pay the price, which is clearly that's not what he actually said. They just put that there to confuse the reader. Chief Justice John Roberts condemned Schumer's remarks. See his response below the transcript, and they provide us with the transcript. So let's see what Chucky Schumer actually said. Inside the walls, the Supreme Court is hearing arguments, as you know, for the first major abortion right cases since Justice Kavanaugh and Justice Gorsuch came to the bench. And to be very clear, these were Trump appointees, so obviously they are alt-right as well. We know what's at stake. Over the last 3 years, women's reproductive rights have come under attack in a way we haven't seen in modern history. From Louisiana to Missouri to Texas, Republican legislatures are waging a war on women, all women, and they're taking away fundamental rights. I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful... Ooh. I think Chuck Schumer made a boo-boo. Well, yes. Enough sarcasm, everybody. Schumer, a couple days ago, was giving a speech. There was a rally outside of the Supreme Court. Currently, the Supreme Court is hearing a case in regards to abortion. Now, nobody knows exactly what these rulings are going to be. Nobody knows. I don't think most people know what the case is about, and I'm not going to bore you with that. But the issue is, this is one of the first major cases that the Supreme Court is actually willing to hear in relation to abortion rights, and it is during a time where there is a clear, you could say, conservative lean on the Supreme Court. You know, obviously, whenever... the Supreme Court's supposed to be unbiased, but obviously, you have Ruth Bader Ginsburg, so you have Sotomayor, who is biased as all hell. But the issue is that many people fear, and perhaps rightfully so, that with a conservative lead on the Supreme Court, that any case that comes to them in regards to abortion, of any sort, could lead to an overturning of Roe v. Wade. Now, when Chuck Schumer was at this rally, he did directly threaten two of the Supreme Court justices, Gorsuch and Kavanaugh, who of course were appointed by Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been very firm on the pro-life stance. It's something that's meant a lot of things to a lot of people. Now, I know that's kind of a really tepid statement. To be clear, most conservatives are very hardcore in their pro-life stance. There are some people who are very moderate on it, and even on the left-wing side of things, you kind of have a reverse image. You have some people who are moderate on it, and then you have some people who want abortion up till birth, which I think has caused more people to push over to the right, because they're sitting there thinking, well, I can understand you just found out you're pregnant, you're talking like first trimester, and even on some level, I agree, right? But when you got people like going on TV and shouting about how everyone should get an abortion, you cross the line. But because of this fear, I don't know why Schumer felt this was appropriate. I know he's since come back and said, these were a poor choice of words, but he never really actually apologized for his statements. I'm just going to play you the video. You can hear it from him himself. But one thing before I do that, because I'm going to close off at the end of his speech here. We're kind of at a point where I would say the right is kept in check in many ways because of an over-aggressive media that is largely against them. But because there is no real force to keep the left in check, they've been going further and further and further off the rails in the things that they're willing to say. And, I love to point to the crazy progressives. I love to point to the squad members, Ilhan Omar, AOC, Ayanna Pressley, and that crazy Palestinian lady that nobody cares about. But, this is the Senate Minority Leader. This is Chuck Schumer. This is a member of the establishment. And you're going to hear him outright issue a threat directed at two members of the Supreme Court, specifically over a case that they have not issued a ruling on. I don't think anyone needs to play games here. If a Republican, if Donald Trump especially, but I mean any Republican, a Republican mayor came out and made that statement, it would be viewed as a threat, because the thing is, a Supreme Court nomination, that's for life. That's until they decide to retire or they're impeached. So is the threat that, you're going to seek impeachment on them, depending on how they rule on a case? That, anyways, it's up to you. Make your own decision. I've heard people on the left try to rationalize and justify around this, but I don't see how there's any way of doing that in this specific case. Hear it from Chuck yourself. Make your decision. Was this a threat? Was it not a threat? Let me know in the comments section below.
Inside the walls of this court, the Supreme Court is hearing arguments, as you know, for the first major abortion right cases since Justices Kavanaugh and Justices Gorsuch came to the bench. We know what's at stake. Over the last 3 years, women's reproductive rights have come under attack in a way we haven't seen in modern history. From Louisiana to Missouri to Texas, Republican legislatures are waging a war on women, all women. And they're taking away fundamental rights. I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
All right, guys, there you go. From his own mouth, you tell me, was this not a man issuing threats towards two specific individuals on the Supreme Court? Did he not name them, and did he not say that you will pay the price? Not the Republicans will pay the price, not the Supreme Court as a whole will pay the price for its vote. I mean, specifically naming two individuals. You let me know if you think that that's just a bridge too far, or if you think, Crow, you're an idiot, you're overreacting, you're part of the right-wing smear machine, and you just hate everybody.